Tonight on CTV News at 6, an arrest in a highway shooting death. An 18-year-old from Lloydminster accused of murder on the QE2.
They just come randomly and shot and they ran up.
A community league trying to find a significant amount of missing money.
We're really concerned and we want to make sure that they continue to thrive.
And traffic light gripes.
It's just taking too long to get anywhere.
Questioning the necessity of construction slowdowns.
It really has been a frustrating last year.
Gusty wind, some snow, and some chilly temperatures. A couple centimeters of snow by the end of the day tomorrow, and a couple of cool days as well.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. An 18-year-old from Lloydminster has been arrested following a deadly shooting on the QE2. 2 Saturdays ago, 22-year-old Barinder Singh and his friends were driving from Edmonton to Banff in Singh's new car. They say a pickup truck passed them near Leduc and someone inside seemed to wave at them. Moments later, Singh was shot. Police have since arrested 18-year-old Jimmy Gassner and charged him with second-degree murder. 2 passengers in Singh's car say they did nothing to provoke the shooting. They're hiding their identities because of online backlash.
We didn't overtake them. It's not about road rage. We didn't honk at them. Nothing like that. They just come randomly and shot and they ran away.
It went through my headrest and go through his neck, and he died in my lap. I was like fully covered in his blood.
The victim had been in Canada for 3 years. His remains are en route back to his family in India. A Calgary man has been charged with child luring, along with several related sexual offences involving 3 girls from Red Deer and Morinville. Malik Buccini is also a girls' minor hockey coach and faces 21 charges. As CTV's Tyler Barrow reports, police think there may be more victims.
Alberta Law Enforcement Response Team's Internet Child Exploitation Unit has charged 23-year-old Malik Buccini Small with child luring, invitation to sexual touching, and extortion. The investigation began in November after 3 girls came forward.
We've conducted a complex investigation into the activities of an individual who has been identified as luring and sexually engaging with children online.
Police say 3 alleged victims from Morinville and Red Deer range in age from 7 to 15. The girls said they faced demands and threats for sexual content on social media applications. Police say multiple social media platforms and various usernames including Iggy Pop, Wakanda Forever, MJ, and 007 were used.
When you look at the challenges of everybody's usernames or their chat names, some of those that we've provided to you, it's difficult to discern from a glance as to who these people represent.
In one instance, the victim felt so threatened and in danger that she called 911 instead of going to her parents. The Canadian Centre for Child Protection says luring youth on social media platforms is not hard.
These are starting out on platforms like Instagram and Snapchat, and where their adults are really allowed to intersect with young people with no guardrails.
Since 2020, the centre has received nearly 14,500 sextortion reports. It is advocating for better regulation and guardrails to help protect youth.
The public is becoming aware that these individuals that are harming children online can come from any walk of life.
Police say Buccini Small was involved in youth sports when he was arrested. He was listed as a girls' minor hockey coach on the U18 Calgary Raiders Hockey Club website, but his name has now been removed. Hockey Calgary did not respond to our request for a comment. It's unclear if athletes were targeted, but investigators say digital evidence points to other victims. Police are asking anyone who could have been targeted by one of these names to come forward. Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
At least one current and one former Calgary City Councillor are being connected to a federal RCMP investigation. RCMP are tight-lipped on what that investigation is about. CTV's Tyson Fedor reports.
As Ward 10 Councillor Andre Chabot left council chambers for lunch Tuesday, he was asked about why RCMP seized his work and personal cell phones.
I have no idea what the investigation's about. I had no idea why they had to do a warrant. I was more than happy to have given them my phones if they had just asked.
But instead of asking, Mountie showed up to his home executing a search warrant last Thursday. It's all part of an investigation being conducted by the RCMP's Federal Policing Northwest Region Department. But it's unclear what it's all about. One criminologist says the RCMP must have reasonable grounds that a criminal code infraction took place.
It can't be a fishing expedition, can't be suspicion. It has to be based on some kind of information that the police are going to be doing a search to confirm.
Chabot's lawyer says he does not know what the focus of the case is.
Until I see facts, there's nothing I'm going to say or can say. For anyone in politics, something like this is a concern, but there's, he's cooperating and he has nothing to hide.
Calgary police will say it received a complaint in October of last year during the municipal election campaign and referred the file to RCMP, but Mounties did not answer questions about the probe or what the search warrant contained.
A search warrant can lead to nothing. A search warrant can lead to something. But a search warrant can also lead to the exoneration of the individual being searched.
Mayor Jeremy Farkas says he was only made aware of the investigation on Tuesday.
I've not been contacted by the police, and because this involves an ongoing investigation with potential legal implications, I have no further comment.
A new coalition has emerged to fight one of the projects included in a memorandum of understanding between the Alberta and federal governments. The group is demanding a full independent impact assessment of the Pathways Alliance carbon capture project. Amanda Anderson reports.
All of us come from different backgrounds, but we share common concerns about this project.
This is the No CO2 Pipelines Alberta Coalition, a group of rural, Indigenous and farming communities brought together by a common goal.
Do I trust these oil and gas companies to protect my family and my water? No, I don't.
The group is opposed to the Pathways Alliance carbon capture project. It would be the world's largest, a 600-kilometer pipeline moving CO2 captured at Fort McMurray oil sands sites to a large storage facility in the Cold Lake region.
Having an area 3 times the size of PEI transformed into the world's largest industrial carbon dump, putting our water and communities at risk, is worth fighting for. And we will.
They released a map they say shows danger zones along the project route.
CO2 is odorless and heavier than air. It pools in low-lying areas, the same areas which are often set aside as pasture land.
Farmer Glenn Norman is worried about leaks in the CO2 pipeline.
With the pipeline, the risk is never if it leaks. It is when it leaks. They all do sooner or later.
The carbon capture project is one of 4 deals that must be agreed upon by April 1st as part of a memorandum of understanding signed between Alberta and the feds if construction of a bitumen pipeline to the west coast is to be considered. The coalition is demanding a comprehensive impact assessment of the carbon capture project before any approvals.
Or else we will launch legal actions against the federal government and the Alberta government for allowing this to happen when it shouldn't be.
The Premier's office says negotiations continue, that more work is needed on the Pathways project, but it's trying to meet the deadline for all or most of the 4 agreements in the MOU. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
The federal justice minister says he doesn't plan to change how judges are appointed. 4 premiers have now signed a letter asking for provinces to be more involved in the process. Since January, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has been pushing for a say on future appointments to Alberta's Court of King's Bench, the Alberta Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court of Canada. Today, Smith posted a letter on the issue signed by herself, Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe, Ontario Premier Doug Ford, and Quebec Premier Francois Legault. The letter calls for provincial input on the appointments, saying we need to act toward lasting reforms that will serve to reinforce the confidence of all Canadians in our judiciary. Federal Justice Minister Sean Fraser says there is already a way for provinces to have a say in the process.
We welcome provincial government's participation in that process and proactively reach out after we receive recommendations through the judicial advisory committees to test with our provincial counterparts whether they've got information about the reputation of the people we're considering. I found that to be very informative. We've had a lot of positive feedback from a range of different, from every province, frankly, when it comes to the appointments that we have made.
Each province and territory has a judicial advisory committee made up of people within the legal profession and the general public. The Central Edmonton Community League is trying to recoup what it says is a significant amount of money. Evan Kenny has more on the situation and how the Federation is working to keep it from happening to other leagues.
The Inglewood Community League says it has suffered a number of financial losses over the last year and a half, and it is now in a precarious position. The Community League has not said how much money it lost, but it has hired a forensic auditor and hired legal counsel to recoup the funds. It also reported the loss to Edmonton Police. The Edmonton Federation of Community Leagues tells me Inglewood's treasurer stepped down in the fall when these issues were found, and the president and vice president stepped down within the last month. It is now working with the Community League on the next steps.
We will do a lot of learning. We have 163 community leagues across the city, and we want to make sure that nobody falls into this sort of situation again, that all the community league boards are really paying attention to the financials and understanding how to catch things before they get bad.
In a statement, the Community League says once the forensic audit is complete and we have a clearer understanding of the situation, we will provide members with a comprehensive and transparent accounting of all findings.
We're really concerned, and we want to make sure that they continue to thrive. That neighborhood continues to change and grow. We want to make sure that we can be alongside them, but other leagues as well.
The EFCL says it will continue to work with Inglewood throughout this process. Evan Kenny, CTV News, Edmonton.
The Edmonton Oilers have 11 games left to secure a playoff spot. They visit the Utah Mammoth to play for an important 2 points tonight. While the Oilers are third in the Pacific Division, they're ranked 19th in the 32-team league. The players want to win so they can separate themselves from teams chasing them for a playoff position.
Yeah, it's kind of been a weird year for our division. Usually it's not the case, but you kind of look at the scores throughout the league. When we've lost a game, you're thinking that you're going to lose ground, and a lot of the time we've been fortunate that it hasn't happened.
We're 71 games in. We're still in a playoff spot, still with a chance to win the division. When you look at it that way, that's a lot of positive things. So it doesn't really matter how we got here.
Tonight's game begins at 7:30. Tristan Jarry will start in goal. All right, Josh, I'm not hearing a lot of enthusiasm from people about whatever's going on outside today.
Yeah, I mean, we talked yesterday about the fact that the first half of the day, the morning commute was going to be okay. It was the late day commute that was going to be most impacted by the snow, and that has certainly been the case. Late this afternoon, the snow rolled in, and it continues to intensify. You can see that lengthy band of snow from southeastern Alberta all the way back up through the Edmonton region and off into the Peace Country. And we are seeing now some of those purple spots, some of the slightly heavier snow shifting a little further north. It looks like there are some heavier pockets of snow there around Sea Beach, just off to the west of the Edmonton area. We'll certainly see a lot more snow west and northwest of the city in that snowfall warning zone. Not everybody's going to get 20 plus, but there will be some spots that exceed 20 centimeters of snow by the time this is all said and done with late tomorrow. Not just snowy, but cool. It's minus 11 right now in downtown Edmonton. The wind has backed off a little bit in the last hour or so, but still minus 15 wind chill, closer to minus 20 north and west of the city. I think we'll see off and on gusts to around 30 kilometers per hour this evening and overnight tonight. So we've been getting reports south and west of the city. Blowing snow is an issue with reduced visibility out on highways. I think the heaviest of the snow for Edmonton is done by late tonight, and then tomorrow it's just some occasional pockets of flurries or light snow, about minus 9 for a daytime high with wind chill in the minus teens, and the wind should start to back off as the day goes on as well. As far as total snowfall, probably about 2 to 5 by early tomorrow morning, and then maybe another 1 to 3 through the day tomorrow. Take a closer look at that in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Josh. Coming up on CTV News at 6, long light cycles downtown.
It's just taking too long to get anywhere.
Why this stretch of road has some drivers seeing red. Plus, the province's push to help Albertans find a job.
The CTV drone powered by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Coming up Wednesday on Your Morning, how to help your neighbors in an emergency. Spring road issues that go deeper than potholes, and a surprise party with Katie from Super Simple Songs.
Your Morning Edmonton, weekdays.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Drivers downtown say it's taking a long time to get around, especially if you're traveling on 104th Ave. Connor Hogg has more on the drive time and the long light cycles.
The traffic is held up for 4 and 5 different lights, depending on the turning lanes and such. And it's just taking too long to get anywhere.
Even though rush hour is over, drivers along 104th Avenue say it's still taking a long time to get where they need to be.
It really has been a frustrating last year.
After hearing so much about how difficult it is to get around in this section of downtown, I decided to put that to the test to see how long it would take me to get from 121st Street to Rogers Place, using my trusty stopwatch to time it. Making a left turn onto 104 Ave, I hit my first red light at 118th Street, 1 minute and 12 seconds in. It takes 2 minutes for the light to change. The next red comes at 116th Street, and then another at 112. 4 minutes and 45 seconds into travel time. Oh, are we stuck behind a tractor? Yeah, we're stuck behind a tractor. After getting held up behind a Bobcat, the fourth red switches at 109th Street. This is actually taking quite an extended period of time. After the sixth stop at 105th, I reached my left turn at 104th Street, getting to the end of the road. At the end of my 17-block journey from 121st Street to Rogers Place, it took just shy of 11 minutes, or 10 minutes and 49 seconds in total, to get where I wanted to go. The City of Edmonton says intersections between 105th Street and 121st Street are operated by Marigold Infrastructure Partners, the company building the Valley Line West LRT. The city says having optimal traffic flow during construction is difficult because of necessary lane and speed reductions.
The number of vehicles or the traffic that is going through, they would have to have the lights that long to allow it to clear. So yeah, you're between a rock and a hard place.
The city says permanent infrastructure that will optimize consecutive signals is coming soon. It hasn't been installed yet. And once that infrastructure is in place, detection loops and pedestrian triggers will reduce wait times for drivers. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
The province plans to spend $247 million this year to help Albertans find jobs. These students are celebrating graduating from UCAN Youth Services by ringing the nonprofit's bell. The program helped them learn new skills to find jobs. UCAN Youth Services is one of the 160 organizations receiving provincial funding to help Albertans find work. The province says more than 400,000 Albertans accessed these services last year. The $247 million is included in the province's latest budget. The Legislative Assembly marked International Francophonie Day this morning in a public ceremony. Dancers and guest speakers joined officials from the provincial government and the opposition. They spoke of the history and importance of the French-Canadian community in our province. The ceremony also marked the 100th anniversary of the Association Canadienne Française de l'Alberta.
The Francophonie we know in Alberta today is vibrant and constantly evolving. It's a living memory carried forward by those who came before us. It is a language passed down with pride for over 270 years.
Alberta's celebration comes 4 days after the International Day of La Francophonie. Still to come on CTV News, culinary connection for Nate's chef in residence.
I wanted to be back, and I never thought of, wearing this jacket again, but, I'm feeling really honored.
Former Nate student will provide a real-life look at what it takes to not sizzle out in a fast-paced culinary career.
Snow continues for the next several hours. That looks pretty bleak out there. Blowing snow as well, especially outside the city. We'll talk a little bit more about estimated snowfall totals and let you know how long it's going to stay cold for. Right after the break.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Nate culinary students are learning from one of their own. The new chef in residence is an award-winning alumni with a restaurant and reality competition under his belt. Miriam Valdez-Carletti has more.
It's been 15 years since chef Alex Kim worked inside this kitchen as a culinary student at NAIT.
I wanted to be back, and I never thought of, wearing this jacket again, but, yeah, I'm feeling really honored.
Kim is a well-decorated chef, a Top Chef Canada finalist, and culinary director of Vancouver's Five Sales restaurant. He's now sharing his skills, like attention to detail.
A lot of his plating, it was very simple and clean, but like high-level execution.
So really, that's what sets apart, a really good student from one that that may not have higher aspirations.
The culinary world can be tough on those looking to sustain a career.
The sad reality of cooking, we'll find a lot of our students 5 years from now are not in industry. You're working on holidays, you're working on weekends, you're some late nights. That can be hard.
Some chefs, they overwork themselves, and they tend to be kind of harsh on themselves. Working, extremely long hours, long standing.
That burnout is why one student is looking for a different type of culinary career. Diallo Campos is interested in food research and development.
That's something that a lot of people don't think about. That's really important. So I don't know, when you go to Starbucks and you get a breakfast sandwich, some chef had to develop that and they created those flavors.
Like any flavor combination, there are lots of possibilities beyond traditional fine dining.
I like the idea of box mixes. I think those are cool. Like how there's KD mac and cheese. I definitely think there's a way you can make it better.
Kim says post-pandemic, the culinary world has lost a lot of talent, but some students are optimistic about filling that gap.
I am worried, but at the same time, I'm willing to face it head on. Because a challenge is a challenge. You face it, and then you conquer it.
Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
All right, Josh, so how long is this going to last anyway?
I think by 11 o'clock midnight, most of the heaviest of the snow is out of the Edmonton area, but off and on, flurries and light snow through the day tomorrow as well. And the cold sticks around even longer. Take a look outside right now. That, as we said, is a fairly ugly view from the River Valley Skycam. Keep in mind, looks a little worse from that elevated vantage point than it does from the surface. But it is snowing and blowing out there. River Valley Skycam's brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed right or it's free. -11 in Edmonton right now. We'll get to about -12 or -13 for a low. -5, the daytime high today. That came in just after midnight. Temperatures, as expected, sliding through the day today. We don't get back to around average until maybe early next week. -14, Fort McMurray. It's -16 in Grand Prairie right now. -7 in Red Deer. You've had some pretty strong gusts to over 50 kilometers per hour earlier today in Red Deer. Still gusty there, Cold Lake. It's not bad in Edmonton. The Blatchford Weather Station not reporting any gusts in the last hour or so. Outside the city, you do have gusts, and so combined with some snow, reduced visibility in that blowing snow. -23 Fort McMurray wind chill, -27 in Grand Prairie. It's about -15 wind chill in Red Deer. North of Fort McMurray, already in the -26, -27 range for wind chill, could approach -40. So you get a cold warning there. Snowfall warning for the areas in red. Not everybody is going to get blanketed in 20-plus centimeters of snow, but some spots will. I think most areas are probably going to end up about 10 to 15 centimeters of snow. You get a rain-snow mix in the southeast corner of the province, up through central and north-central Alberta. Snow, heaviest in the purple zones there, off to the south and west of the Edmonton area, and that will gradually lift north. So by the time you get to about 11 p.m., you can see the southern edge of that. Looks like it's going to be north of the city. Snow will come down pretty heavily overnight tonight for areas north of Edmonton, and then through the day tomorrow. This is tomorrow morning. Flurries or light snow for the morning commute. Early afternoon, you get a chance of a little bit of snow. I think tomorrow's the opposite of today, where today the drive into work was better than the drive home. Tomorrow, the drive in's probably worse than the drive home. Thursday morning, snow to the south from Red Deer off down towards Calgary, but here in Edmonton, that snow should miss us. And so just mostly cloudy skies. Here are your estimated snowfall totals. Dark blue zones would be the potential for 15 to 20 centimeters worth of snow. In Edmonton, this model had us at 8. Now it's down to 6. I mean, somewhere in that 3 to 10 centimeter range looks most likely to me. It's possible we get a little bit more than that. It looks unlikely at this point that we get less than 3 centimeters, though. Temperatures holding pretty steady, -9 to -12 range through the overnight period and into tomorrow afternoon. There's your off and on pockets of snow tomorrow, and the wind easing by mid to late morning. -9 again Thursday, in the mid-minus teens in the morning. Back to around the freezing mark for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but average high is 4. So that's better, but still not back to average. And there is only one day in the next 10 in that 4 or 5 range. Most of the next week and a half. Not as cold as tomorrow and Thursday, but below average.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Still ahead on CTV News at 6, Air Canada crash investigation.
Stop, truck 1, stop, truck 1, stop.
Why did a fire truck cross an active runway? And
the moon base will not appear overnight. We will invest approximately $20 billion over the next 7 years and build it through dozens of missions.
A multi-billion-dollar base on the moon. Stay with us.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Today saw the first full day of investigation into the deadly Air Canada Express crash in New York that killed 2 Canadian pilots and injured dozens of others. CTV's Adrian Gabriel is at LaGuardia Airport in Queens.
With the twisted, tangled wreckage of Air Canada Express Flight 8646 still strewn across LaGuardia Airport's runway 4, new details today on the tragic chain of events. The U.S. Port Authority fire truck that collided with the Air Canada Express passenger plane didn't have a tracking device on board to alert LaGuardia Airport's surface detection equipment of its location.
You have to know where ground vehicles and aircraft are. So in this case, that vehicle did not have a transponder.
We're also learning crucial details from the final moments recorded inside the cockpit as the Air Canada flight made its final descent.
At 54 seconds, the flight crew acknowledged that the airplane was 500 feet above the ground and on a stable approach. At 25 seconds, Truck 1 requested to cross runway 4 at taxiway Delta. At 20 seconds, the tower cleared Truck 1 and company to cross runway 4. At 9 seconds, the tower instructed Truck 1 to stop.
Stop, truck 1, stop, truck 1, stop.
At least 10 calls to stop went unanswered as air traffic control watched the scene unfold in real time. The impact claiming the life of pilot Antoine Foray, who grew up southwest of Montreal. Foray's brother Cedric sharing this childhood photo on Facebook while writing in part, "Have a good flight, my brother. Oh yes, we've heard the phrase often, but this time it will be the last. You left us again, too soon to say goodbye. I love you, my brother. You can leave with your head held high." At Seneca College campuses today, Canadian flags are at half-mast for co-pilot Mackenzie Gunther, who graduated with honors in aviation technology. There are also stories of survival. Flight attendant Solange Tremblay suffered multiple leg fractures after she was ejected from the aircraft while still strapped to her jump seat, her family calling her survival miraculous. Aviation experts believe the pilots may have saved the lives of dozens of passengers.
The crew, in my opinion, heroically did what they could to slow the aircraft down and to lessen the impact.
This comes as confirmation that 3 Canadian Transportation Safety Board inspectors arrived at the crash scene this morning to work in lockstep with their U.S. counterparts.
They are entitled to tour the wreckage. They also have access to most of the recorded information that will be collected during the investigation.
As for the flight data recorder, analysis on that is expected to begin today, with a transcript of the cockpit voice recorder released tomorrow. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Queens, New York.
Travel turmoil is worsening in the United States. TSA checkpoints, long lines, and a partial government shutdown dragging on for nearly a month have meant misery for the traveling public. Here's CTV's Joy Melvin in Washington.
Take a look at some major American airports. Massive lineups snaking outside terminals and security grindingly slow. TSA agents have gone a month without pay. Many aren't showing up and hundreds have already quit thanks to a partial government shutdown.
Oh my God, this is insane. I mean, I've never experienced anything like this. It's crazy. It's insane. I mean, I've never seen an airport like this.
President Donald Trump sent ICE agents to some of the busiest airports. Without training on airport X-ray machines, all they can really do is control crowds.
Put these people
people back to work, man. Get them paid. Obviously, people deserve to get paid. I hate that they hold people hostage.
Democrats refuse to fund ICE and Homeland Security until changes are made to the president's hardline immigration operations after 2 Americans were killed in Minneapolis.
It's a simple solution, Donald Trump. Pay the TSA workers so you don't have to bring ICE agents in there.
But the president said he doesn't do deals with Democrats, and as frustration boils over, from missed flights to waits up to 4 hours or more, this checkpoint chaos and safety concerns about air traffic control staffing shortages is just another reason Canadians are taking a hard pass on visiting the U.S. Stats Canada reports return trips from the U.S. plunged 22% from the year before, driven by politics, tariffs, and a weak Canadian dollar. Lawmakers are working on a compromise deal that would fund Homeland Security, except ICE, and end this travel chaos. But the president, he didn't seem too enthusiastic about it. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
Donald Trump says Iran wants to make a deal to end the war and claims it even gave him a gift.
They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money.
Trump wouldn't go into detail, only saying this present was oil and gas related. Trump also claimed there has already been a regime change in Iran.
And they gave it to us.
Despite those claims from Trump, the negotiations are underway. Iran launched a new wave of attacks on Israel and vowed to fight until complete victory.
I just heard such a big boom. My ears was hurt, and then the whole shelter was shaking.
An Iranian missile strike in Tel Aviv today damaged several buildings. Meanwhile, plumes of smoke could be seen in southern Lebanon after Israeli strikes, according to Lebanon's state news agency. And Pakistan's prime minister has offered to host diplomatic talks, but there is no indication that that offer has been accepted. Russia fired an estimated 550 missiles and drones at Ukraine today, killing 8 people, injuring dozens, and badly damaging a UNESCO World Heritage site. The drone attack in Lviv injured 2 people and damaged part of St. Andrew's Church. The church dates back to the 17th century and is in part of the city protected for its cultural and historical significance. Some experts believe a spring-summer Russian offensive has begun. Avalanche Canada is warning of dangerous conditions in parts of BC after 4 skiers were killed in 2 separate slides. 3 skiers were killed in the first slide near Terrace, are reported to be tourists from Switzerland. Another skier was killed in a separate avalanche near the BC-Alaska border. Avalanche Canada says it's a reminder people need to be extra vigilant in BC's backcountry. It says the lack of rain at higher elevations is cause for concern.
Didn't see the same impact of those atmospheric river events last week and don't have a supportive crust to mountaintop. And that means that layers from earlier in the season, March layers and February layers, they can still be contributors to avalanche danger.
The Swiss consulate in Vancouver is working with authorities while the deaths are being investigated by the BC Coroner Service. NASA says it plans to build a multi-billion-dollar base on the surface of the moon.
The moon base will not appear overnight. We will invest approximately $20 billion over the next 7 years and build it through dozens of missions, working together with commercial and international partners towards a deliberate and achievable plan.
NASA had originally planned to create a space station which would orbit the moon. The new plan is to build a moon base that will support sustained operations on the surface. In just over a week, the Artemis 2 mission is hoping to launch a rocket that will fly around the moon with Canada's Jeremy Hansen on board. Still to come, the high cost of home ownership for seniors.
Even for people who've paid off their homes, these double-digit property tax increases are unsustainable.
Home isn't leading to a comfortable retirement for some seniors. Plus, farmland values across Canada are rising, with the prairies leading the way. Looking at the markets, the Canadian dollar dipped a little, closing just under 73 cents U.S. Oil was up $4.22, closing the day at $92.35 a barrel. Gold lost just over $5 on the day. The TSX was up 57 points, the Dow Jones down 84. Owning a home may not guarantee financial security for seniors, according to a new study from the University of Calgary. As CTV's Kevin Green reports, many older Albertans say the cost of staying in their homes is becoming harder to manage.
For decades, homeownership has been seen as a key milestone to a stable retirement, but a new survey shows for a lot of older Albertans, that's not the case.
Over 1 in 3 Albertan older adults who own their own home outright indicated that they were worried about paying for financial upkeep. And about 1 in 6 even considered selling their own homes due to their financial need.
At Unison's Kirby Centre, CEO Larry Matheson says they see those pressures firsthand.
It's not uncommon for us to hear people are making decisions between buying the groceries they need and buying the medications they need.
At a seniors tax clinic just outside Matheson's door, Alberto De Maio is contemplating his finances and how much it takes to maintain the condo he owns.
I made it in order for me to be able to buy the place. But then afterwards, it's like a vehicle. If you don't do maintenance on it, the vehicle craps out very soon.
De Maio says the rising cost of everything required for home ownership forces him to cut back, and researchers say he's not alone.
What's happening here is essentially a domino effect. People are needing to pay more for food, for gas, for daily living.
The Canadian Taxpayers Federation maintains property taxes are a big burden and says the upcoming boost to the province's education property tax will make it worse.
Even for people who have paid off their homes, these double-digit property tax increases are unsustainable. A lot of folks are now worried about being able to afford just the property taxes alone.
The U of C researchers say living on a fixed income while prices rise is squeezing many seniors, even those who appear financially secure on paper. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
The study's authors say policy changes, including better indexed supports for seniors, may be needed as housing insecurity continues to grow. RCMP are warning people of a phone scam after a 19-year-old from Airdrie was charged. Police say scammers are calling people and convincing them to upgrade their current device. Once the victim agrees, the transaction is done through their legitimate phone provider's online app. When the new phone arrives, the scammers call to say the wrong device was sent and must be returned. The address given is for a fake return facility. RCMP say do not sign contracts if a company reaches out. Instead, call them back on a confirmed number. Agricultural land prices in Canada climbed further last year, with Alberta seeing the second highest gain. That's according to a new report by Farm Credit Canada. The value of Canadian farmland rose by an average of 9.3% in 2025. That increase was on par with 2024, but less than the 11.5% jump in 2023. Prairie provinces saw the biggest bumps last year, with Alberta seeing an 11.4% gain. Manitoba led the way with a 12.2% jump. British Columbia was the only one to see a decrease of nearly 2%. Several rural RCMP detachments across Alberta are getting new officers. 21 new recruits graduated from the cadet training program at the RCMP depot in Regina yesterday. They'll be stationed in smaller communities, including Drayton Valley, Vegreville, Stettler, and High Prairie. RCMP say over the past 2 years it received more than 5,700 applications. The Calgary Stampede is launching a new event celebrating Indigenous sport and culture. The inaugural First Nations Rodeo and Relay will take over GMC Stadium June the 13th. It will feature top athletes from across Canada and the U.S. It's created in partnership with the Indian National Finals Rodeo. The event includes rodeo competitions, relay races, cultural performances, and a First Nations marketplace. Tickets go on sale on Monday. Still to come, hitting the pitch ahead of the World Cup.
We're calm, we're focused, we're ready. And I think we've all been preparing for that moment, and we know there's still preparations leading up to that.
Canada's men's soccer team gets ready for some friendly competition ahead of the tournament.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV.
Celine Dion is reportedly returning to the stage. According to French online paper La Presse, the 5-time Grammy winner will perform several concerts in Paris this fall. Celine Dion also hinted at this on social media and shared several photos of her when she was younger in Paris with the caption, "I don't know how to tell you." In 2022, Dion revealed she was diagnosed with stiff person syndrome, a rare disorder that causes muscle stiffness and impaired mobility. Her last major performance was at the Paris Olympics in 2024. The Canadian men's soccer team will play 2 friendlies in Toronto in the coming week. Saturday, they face Iceland, and on Tuesday, they take on Tunisia. It's giving fans an early look at the team with less than 3 months to go until the FIFA World Cup kicks off. CTV's Heather Wright has more from team practice.
On a sunny but frosty field in the northwest corner of Toronto, members of Canada's men's national soccer team took to the pitch today. The team is in town for 2 friendlies as the squad preps for the World Cup now just 80 days away.
We're calm, we're focused, we're ready. And I think we've all been preparing for that moment, and we know there's still preparations leading up to that, but come June 12th, we know we'll be ready for that moment.
Included in the work, promos. The team spent the morning shooting videos, photos, and interviews that will be part of the World Cup broadcast.
It's a dream come true for me personally, but the team, to inspire the next generation.
For these players, competing in a World Cup was never a given. Canada went 36 years without qualifying for the tournament. And so to be representing their country at home is something many only dreamed of as kids.
And I thought World Cups are only for the Brazils, the Spains, the Italys of the world, and not for Canadians. So to be standing here today, and as you said, 80 days out, couldn't ask for more.
With less than 3 months to go until the tournament kicks off, work is wrapping up at Toronto's BMO Field. 17,000 temporary seats have been added to the stadium, along with other upgrades, which include a new playing surface. Hosting 13 World Cup matches in Canada is not inexpensive. The price tag in Vancouver is estimated between $532 and $624 million, while Toronto is set to spend $380 million, a figure the city's mayor says will not rise.
$380 million is what we promised, and that is what we're delivering.
So as the final preparations get underway in Toronto and Vancouver, there are still plenty of questions about the team that will take to the field on June 12th, with many would-be starters dealing with injuries, including team captain Alphonso Davies. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Our producer Nariman would really like everyone to know June 1st in Edmonton, a friendly match against Uzbekistan. There you go. And the snow will be done by then, right?
By June 1st? It should all be melted by then. I don't think it'll be another ice teca. You remember?
I do.
Mexico and the snow. Man. There's the snow coming down fairly heavily from around Edmonton off to the south and southwest. We've got a couple more hours before this snow is done. Already some accumulation out there. We'll see a bit more snow tomorrow. I don't think it'll be as heavy as what's going through this evening, but occasional periods of light snow, maybe another 1 to 3 centimeters. All told, somewhere in the 3 to 10 centimeter range. -9 for a daytime high tomorrow, and again Thursday. Some chilly air settles in for the next couple of days, back closer to 0 Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
All right. Thank you, Josh. And thank you very much for sharing your time with us. For news anytime, check out our website, ctvnewsedmonton.ca. Have a great evening, everyone.